Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm super excited to share with you all a classic and a very humble Puerto Rican dish known as Jamonilla Guisada. Jamonilla Guisada is a Puerto Rican spam stew, and if you grew up with it, you know how comforting and delicious it is. So let's get into it. So this Puerto Rican meal takes absolutely no time at all. It's so simple to make, and I am using the Spam brand. However, this also goes by Lunchy on me. And I'm just gonna chop up my Spam into cubes, like about medium-sized cubes. I don't like them too big, and I don't like the chunks to be too small. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a very humble dish, and I believe that every single culture has a dish like this. You know, when resources are low and you want to make something that's tasty and can feed a lot of people on a budget, on a very tight budget. And this is one of them. But I feel like now we make it just because it's tradition and it's delicious, you know, so why not? It's not something that you want to eat all the time, obviously, but it's one of those meals that when you do make it, you really, really enjoy it. All right, so I have a medium-sized caldero and I have the heat set to medium. I'm gonna add plenty of olive oil and I will be sauteing the Spam for a little bit until it's nice and golden brown. And just an FYI, my caldero does not look pretty, and it's because I usually use this caldero to boil green bananas or plantains or stews. So it's like, you know, I feel like everyone has like that one pot that it's like their good old trusty pot that's not that pretty, but you know, it's reliable. So this is mine. So yeah, I'm gonna saute my Spam until it's nice and golden, and then once it's nice and golden, I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of my ingredients. So every Puerto Rican family will make their Jamonilla Guisada slightly different, with the exception of Sofrito, tomato sauce, etc. So for mine, I'm just gonna add some chopped white onion and some chopped red bell pepper. And just an FYI, I will have all of the ingredients that I use for this Jamonilla Guisada in the description box below. And of course, feel free to use that as a general guide. You can adjust everything to your preferences. So while the heat is still on medium, I'm going to mix everything up and saute it until it's nice and fragrant. And then I'm gonna add just a little extra olive oil because my oil kind of dried out a little bit. And then I'm gonna continue to saute. And if you didn't know, this is a meal that was commonly served at Puerto Rico's public schools. So if you grew up in Puerto Rico, you know this dish very, very well. However, this is like a slightly better version, of course, because it has more things in it. You know, it's made with more love, etc. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of sofrito. Here I added about a tablespoon of sofrito. Feel free to add a little more or a little less to your liking. And I do have 2 videos on my channel on how I make sofrito. That is a very common question on my channel. I have 2 videos. I have an authentic version, which is the one that I'm using here. And I also have a basic practical version with ingredients that you can find anywhere. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato sauce. I added about like a heaping tablespoon and a half of tomato sauce. I don't like to add too much, but again, as I always say, adjust to your preference. And I'm gonna keep stirring as I go. Then I'm gonna add some freshly chopped carrots. I'm gonna add 1 packet of Goya Sazón. You can use any brand of Sazón that you prefer. You can also use a little bit of annatto powder if you prefer that, or annatto oil. I think I have to make a video on how to make annatto oil, or I may make a YouTube short because it's very simple. It's not really like a recipe, but feel free to use whatever you like to color your dish. And then I'm going to add about 3 cups of water. All right, and then once everything came up to a boil and it was simmering for a couple of minutes, I went ahead and added some chopped up potatoes. You can add as many potatoes or as little as you like, but I just added like about 2 medium potatoes. And then the last of my ingredients are going to be my spices. I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of some salt. And I'm also going to add a little bit of black pepper. Of course, feel free to adjust everything according to your taste. You can also add a little piece of bay leaf if you like. That'll give it a good flavor as well. But I feel like Spam is already very flavorful. Plus I have the sofrito and the tomato sauce. So everything comes together really nicely without needing to add too much to it. All right, so my Jamonilla Guisada is set to the side. I covered the caldero and I set the heat to medium low. Now I'm just letting it do its thing, and while it cooks, I'm gonna whip up a quick batch of some white rice. I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of some extra virgin olive oil and a heaping teaspoon of some salt. I will be using medium grain rice for this particular batch of white rice. However, feel free to use long grain rice. I actually have a video for both medium grain and long grain rice on my channel, so be sure to check those out. And I'm gonna make 2 cups of medium grain white rice, so I'll be adding 2.5 cups of water. And once the water comes to a boil, I'll go ahead and add my rice. My rice looks a little mushy here, but that's because I wash my rice. You technically don't have to, that's debatable, but I like to wash it. So I gave it a quick rinse in cold water. This is a Japanese rice strainer that I found on Amazon, and it works really well for medium grain rice. So after I added my rice, I'm gonna go ahead and give that a good stir so that the oil and the salt and all that can combine really well. And as always, use the measurements for the white rice as a general guide with the exception of the water, but you can adjust the oil and the salt to your preference. And after the water has been simmering for about 2 minutes, I'm gonna stir my rice real quick, and then I'm gonna put the lid on my caldero. I'm gonna set my heat to low, and I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I'm not gonna touch it. I may stir it once after like 15 minutes, and that's it. And just like that, dinner is done, and everything came together in under an hour. And not shown, I also fried up a fresh batch of tostones. I actually have a video on my channel on how to make homemade tostones, so be sure to check that out. But yeah, dinner is done, and it came out amazing. And that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you have made it this far, I also wanted to announce that I have recently reached 30,000 subscribers on my channel. I am both shocked and grateful. And I also wanted to give a heartfelt thank you to everyone who regularly comments on my videos, on my posts. Thank you so much. Your encouragement, your support, it means the world to me, more than you will ever know. So thank you. I see you and I appreciate you. And also, lastly, if you have any requests for future videos, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll feature your suggestions in that specific video recipe. And as always, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time.